Guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Anna and I'm a little bit spooky, and today I am barefaced because we are doing a full face of makeup, which is my kind of quick out the door makeup that's put together, a little elevated, a little polished, but easy and quick. And I'm also using products that I kind of can't get enough of, that I'm just really loving lately. So it's a little bit of a favorites video, but it's showing you those favorites in action, and they're favorites for every single day, just easy products that make you look flawless, put together, and finished without a lot of effort. So if that interests you, just go ahead and keep on watching. But before you do, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know some of your favorite everyday products. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into this look. Okay, let's start with the skin. I'm going to do it kind of backwards from what you usually see me do. Most of the time you see me do eyes first, but when I'm doing that, it's because I'm doing a little bit more glam looks, stuff that looks they're going to have some fallout, and I don't want to fool with how to be super careful. So a lot of times I do start with my eyes, but for today's look, we're not going to do a whole lot of anything on the eyes, just a little pop of shimmer and something through the transition. So yeah, it's something kind of easy, quick. I don't have to worry about like there being fallout or a mess to clean up. Nothing like that. It's just, again, easy makeup. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the skin. Lately I've been using the Mercier foundation primer in the Radiance version. I pulled this out and I kind of almost a shop my stash type of situation for myself, where I was just wanting to pull out some older products that I want to use up before they go bad. And this was one of them, and I have actually really kind of fallen in love with it. It's just a lovely, lovely glowy primer, and I think it just looks beautiful on the skin. It feels nice, it works in really well, and you just get a beautiful glow from it, but it's not super heavy glow. And it does give your skin a bit of tack and grip to it, so your foundation just sits really nicely over top. I've already done my skincare, by the way. I used a Believe Beauty gel cream, and I used my Origin GINZING under eye cream and a bit of Sunday Riley Lighthearted SPF. So, okay, that looks lovely. It just really feels fantastic on the face. Right, so next I'm going to go with my foundation. And for foundation lately, I've been bouncing between two, just depending on my mood. And if I'm going a little more glam, I'm going to go with the Butter Believe It from Physicians Formula. But for the day-to-day, I have fallen in love with the L'Oreal True Match Nude Hyaluronic Tinted Serum. This is a beautiful product, and I've just really been liking it a lot. I think it just looks so flawless on the skin and wears so gracefully. I love it, and it's just that kind of right level of coverage where things are perfected, but it's not heavy looking or anything like that. You can still see your skin kind of through it, but it just evens things out a bit and just looks kind of perfected, but you still look like you. It still looks like your skin. And that is the kind of product that I absolutely love lately. It's just very skin-like, kind of natural foundations. And this one, I get that little bit of coverage that I do need from it as well to take down like all this, you know, this redness and a little bit of a breakout. All that gets pretty well hidden with this product. I like to apply it with my Kabuki sponge here from Sonia Kashuk. This is a fantastic foundation sponge, or foundation brush. I think it might be the only foundation brush on the market that I have really loved. But yeah, let's go ahead and buff some of this on. I usually start with my jaw and kind of work up because my jaw is usually where my redness is. I'm also going for kind of a dewier complexion with today's look, because I find when I go a little bit more dewy and a little more radiant with my foundation, kind of skin-like with it, it wears much more gracefully. Looks less makeup-y throughout the day as it breaks down or might wear away. It just wears away gracefully and doesn't look obvious. And this I find to be a pretty long wearing product, aside from, yeah, you're gonna get kind of, you know, dewy looking because it is a pretty radiant product, but it's not quite as radiant as you think it's gonna be. It's actually kind of a nice skin-like finish with a soft glow to it. But I did put the glowy primer underneath, put a little bit of Flawless Filter as my highlighter today. But you can see how the skin's just looking pretty even, and the redness is taken down, but it's not looking heavy at all. And this is a very quick product to apply. Like you don't have to pay close attention, you know, when you're applying it, because it's kind of sheer. You're not going to see it. It's not going to be like, oh my god, there's a patch missing. You're not going to get a mask-like effect with it either. And it's just something quick that you can just, like, if you're sleepy and tired in the morning and just not with it yet, you can just really buff this on so fast and so effortlessly and not have to even think about what you're doing. And I love when foundations are like that, because a lot of times if I'm doing a face like this, it's because it's kind of early in the morning, I'm needing to get out the house early and get a lot done or something like that, and I don't want to spend a super long time on makeup. I don't want to have to get up, you know, an hour early to do a whole lot. I want to just be able to put some makeup on and look really nice. I am someone who does take the time to do that though. I will get up a little bit earlier because I know I want to take that time to get ready in the morning, because that's just more my process. I take that moment to do my makeup as almost a meditation time in the morning, to just get my brain together and just kind of chill out. I'll listen to videos or a podcast or something, have some coffee, and just, it's kind of a little bit like a me time, and I like to get up a little bit earlier than I would necessarily need to and have a nice, slow, relaxing morning over sleeping in a little bit and having to rush. Okay, and that is the foundation on. Look, I think that looks so pretty and just so flawless looking. Still skin-like. Like I can still see a little bit of my redness through. You can still see this pimple a little bit. You can see my freckles, but things just look a little bit more polished. And that's really what I'm going for. I'm not worried about, you know, full coverage or anything like that. I could care less if my freckles show through. Alright, and for concealer, I like to do a little cocktail here. Not always, but depending on my under eye situation. If I've really tired, not got a lot of sleep, and having some dark circles, I'll go in with the Instant Age Rewind Eraser in the brightening shade from Maybelline. But if I'm feeling okay about my under eyes, I just go straight into my True Match eye cream and a concealer. This corresponds with the foundation, and I've really come to love this concealer a lot. I think when I first reviewed it, I had like mixed feelings about it. The more I've used this, the more I've come to appreciate it and love it, to where like now it's one of my favorite everyday concealers. I think it is fantastic. And maybe if you have oilier skin, you probably wouldn't enjoy that if you have oily under eyes. But for drier under eyes, I think it's fantastic. And even me who doesn't have super dry under eyes, it works great. But today I'm going to take just a little bit of my brightening concealer, Age Rewind Eraser, and just pop a little bit right in here and onto the lid and right out here. Because I am feeling a little dark under the eyes. I've been having a little bit of a weird sleep schedule. And I'm not applying much, as you can see. It's just a very small amount. Just enough to kind of brighten that up a bit. Sometimes I'll go in with this by itself, even if I'm just really in a hurry and don't care. And I'm just going to buff that out with my foundation brush. And I tend to do almost everything with the foundation brush, even the concealer. I get right up under there with it too. So that's another thing, when I'm in a hurry in the morning or just doing my makeup anytime and I'm doing something kind of a little more simple, I really don't want to have to reach for a million brushes. I like to reach for like 1 or 2 brushes and get it done. This brush from Sonia Kashuk has just been that brush for me. And it's a very affordable brush compared to a lot of other brushes on the market, especially when it comes to like a good foundation brush. This one, I think the price point is fantastic on, and I have no like brush strokes or anything with it. My skin just looks really good, and it's just another like easy product. All right, now I'm gonna take a little bit of the eye cream in a concealer from True Match L'Oreal. Again, like you can skip out the corrector if you want, depending on your needs. And another thing that I've come to like about this True Match concealer is that it has a bit of a peach undertone to it that does help cancel out any darkness under the eye. And when you initially put it out, it just kind of comes off like it's going to be too dark. But it truly adapts to your skin and looks fantastic. So I just take a little bit on my fingers and like really almost pat it on like it's an eye cream. Like this, and into anywhere that I just want a little extra coverage. If I feel like my cheeks are looking extra red or something like that, I'll just pop a little bit on. Like lately my chin and jaw have been really on one because of this time of year my skin just gets really irritated, especially in my jaw. And again, I just blend this out with the foundation brush. And you don't have to do the 2 steps. I just, if I'm feeling particularly tired or my eyes are looking a little bit worse for wear, I'll go in with both products. Especially if I've been doing a lot of heavier makeup looks every day for like a week or something, like doing a lot of filming. My eyes get real kind of tired and irritated by the 3rd day. So I usually like to give them a little extra love and a little extra coverage. I think the skin just looks just kind of polished and nice looking, but not super heavy or cakey or like there's a ton of product on at all. And this is going to wear super gracefully. Okay, so I'm going to set everything down, and I go between 2 setting powders, like just whatever mood I'm in. I kind of just grab for whichever. For the longest time, I've reached for the number 7 Lift and Illuminate, and I finally have hit pan. This one is just a beautiful, very flawless looking powder that's going to make your skin look beautiful. And I've also really fallen in love with the Halo Glow setting powder from e.l.f. And this is one I initially didn't apply like in the T-zone or under the eyes, but I found this one actually be really pretty all over the face. And I didn't think it would do good for like the under eye region because it's kind of glowy, but actually it's beautiful. So depending on the level of glow that I'm wanting, I'll go between the 2 of these. Today I'm going to just go in with the number 7 here, because again, it's something that's a little bit easier because it's a compact, where this is a loose one. But I have reached for the Halo Glow recently too, just to change things up. I get bored with my makeup. I rarely do the same thing twice in a row. Like I don't have a, I don't know, I get really bored. I don't like sticking to a very strict routine. So I have like a handful of products that I reach between. Or like I'll find a formula I like and I'll go back and forth between like shades within. I like maybe like a small kind of 9-pan versatile palette is something I'll reach for a lot. Good little face palette, that kind of thing. But a lot of these products are ones that I have just really been wanting to reach for and have enjoyed using so much. Oh, I forgot to do my flawless filter. Oops. Okay, so just powdered like kind of the under eye real quick. I'm gonna take a touch of my flawless filter, which I forgot to put on before I started powdering. The amount of times I do that to myself. I'm gonna take just a tiny bit of this like right out here on the high points. This does okay over powder, surprisingly. And you can use this as a more of a primer product, a highlighter, kind of whatever, under over foundation. It's a very versatile, beautiful product. For a look like this, I think it looks really nice over the foundation, almost as a highlight. And I apply it with my foundation brush. It just gives it such a beautiful glow right out there. It doesn't lift up any of your product either. For day to day, like for a look like this, so I really like using this as my highlight because it's very graceful, has a softness to it, and it looks very like, has that skin-like reflect to it where it's not glittery or anything like that, and it just looks really pretty on the skin. And it will peep through under your powder and everything and just look very kind of perfected on the face. It's more of a nice subtle glow. Back to the powder. I just kind of powder my T-zone, my eyelids. I powder around my eyes a good bit and kind of the under eye lightly, around the brow. My brows tend to get a bit oily, and my lids and my under eyes a little bit. So I like to have that part of my face set, and my kind of like T-zone around my mouth is definitely a problem area. But I don't care if like right out here is a little bit dewy or not set. But I truly do like more of a set down face, because my skin can get oily throughout the day. I kind of never know what it wants to do. It has a mind of its own. But I'm using a smaller brush so I don't over apply product. This one's just really good for getting right up under the eyes. But this is a very perfecting powder. Very much like the airbrush powder from Charlotte Tilbury. And take a little bit on a bigger brush, just tap it into the cheeks. Depending on the day that I'm gonna have is whether I powder the whole face or just stick to the T-zone. If I'm having a longer day and gonna be out and about, I'm definitely gonna kind of lightly powder the whole face and not just the T-zone. If I'm just running over to a friend's house or out for lunch and just gonna be around the house the rest of the day, just the T-zone. And you can see that flawless filter is still kind of peeping through, but it's not in your face. And I feel like as the makeup wears, you can see it a little better throughout the day. For my brows, I usually reach for any one of these kind of micro pencils. Like I have the AOA Studio one and I have the e.l.f. one here. And yeah, and I have a Wet n Wild. No, a CoverGirl. So I just kind of reach for any one of these. I'm particularly fond of the CoverGirl one. And I'll use this to kind of sketch on some brows quickly. Oh no, have I already used up my CoverGirl? I feel like I just bought this. Dang. Well, I'm going to use what I can of this one, then I'll switch over to the AOA Studio and kind of use it up. I keep the brow just a little bit softer on the day-to-day and just follow my natural brow shape. I like to use these little micro pencils for quick everyday brows just because they're easy. I feel like they don't get everywhere. I don't make a mess with them. There's just something very simple about them. There's something just very quick and easy. Okay, so I'm going in with the AOA Studio. I feel like I have good control and that I don't make a mess when I'm using these in particular, and I can get my brow shape down pretty quickly without it looking harsh or over the top or too blocky or anything like that. I don't feel like I need to go in and clean up with concealer. I kind of take it a bit lower in the front and into a bitchier looking brow. And if I feel like it is looking a little messy, I'll just take a concealer brush with nothing on it and just kind of tidy it up. And then just gives it a nice brow without looking too over the top or heavy or anything like that. I don't know why I stray from my little micro pencils. I know this is how I get the best brow. Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit of blush, bronzer, highlight situation. And I love a good face palette for this kind of step. Just something that has all the things in it that I want to use. And sometimes that's all I'll do, and I won't even go in with eyeshadow. I'll just use a little kind of one and done type of face palette that has a lot of versatility to it. And lately I've been really kind of rediscovered a love of my Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit Sculpture Unlocked. This was one that I was fond of it, then I kind of was like meh about it for a while. And then over the summer I discovered a love for it when I started self-tanning, because to me the colors in here are just a bit too deep for me. Like the bronzer is a little too warm for me normally, especially with my very pale skin. But recently I picked it up for some reason to use and have rediscovered a love of this palette. And it's just very easy. I've been using it just to do a quick kind of bronzer, blush, highlight situation. And I'll even run it through the eyes, through the crease and kind of transition. And it's very kind of gives you a nice polished finished look without having to do a whole lot of work. And I'm going to show you how I use this on the day-to-day basis when I'm not wanting to fool with eyeshadow at all and just have a very kind of cohesive finished makeup look, but not have an eye look going necessarily. I really like to just go for this palette and kind of one and done the whole face. So first thing I do is I take my favorite little brush to use with this palette for some reason, and that is the e.l.f. highlighting brush. It looks like a giant blending brush and it's fantastic. So I usually just make sure it is clean, and I start out by dipping into the bronzer and the finishing powder in this palette and just going back and forth between the two, because the bronzer is a bit too warm, too deep for me, but mixed with the finishing powder it is lovely. And so tap off the excess, and I usually just start kind of swirling this and applying it to the back of the cheekbone kind of softly. I don't overdo. And I tend to use a lighter hand with this bronzer because it is quite pigmented on me. Every year, like around this time, I usually get a face palette of some sort. I just wasn't quite as interested in Hourglasses this year. I don't know. It just didn't really do anything for me. I'll take this around the hairline a bit to warm that up. I've got a little bit more into bronzing up here than I used to. And because this palette is quite radiant and has a bit of a glowy finish, it makes the skin look really, really pretty. And again, like I said, I feel like a glowier finish really does wear better on the skin throughout the day. So if you do get kind of shiny, I don't know, it just looks a little more graceful. And see how much bronzer I put right there by accident? That's the only kind of caveat with this one, is that on me it can get a little orange. So I'll just take my powder brush and blend that. Okay. If I feel like the bronzer gets a little too much, I can just go straight in with the finishing powder and soften that out. I like a very dewy complexion, or kind of glowy complexion, but a set complexion. I don't like to feel anything on my skin. I like it to feel powdered. And that's one of the things I love about the Hourglass powders, is they give you that very skin-like glow finish without feeling like there's something dewy on your skin. There's something just very magical about them, and the texture and the formula. They don't emphasize anything that you don't want emphasized. They're just really pretty, graceful products. And just take a little bit around the jaw. All right, and now I'm going to take the bronzer and finishing powder little swirly combo, and I'm going to start running it right here, kind of on the outer part of the eye and brow bone transition area, and just kind of blend it across softly. And that just gives a nice little bit of shape right there. A bit of a one and done feel. You can even kind of pinch your brush to get in there a little bit more if you want. And this also gives a bit of a nice lift. And just let that kind of flow into the bronzer that I've applied. I think that just gives the eye some definition and some structure without actual like going in with eyeshadow and fussing. It's all in one palette, very kind of just one done easy face. But it just, to me, it looks very elevated and finished. I mean, this isn't no makeup, but it's just a softer, more natural approach. And it's about as soft as it's gonna get from me. I'm gonna go ahead and go in with my highlighter next, because I like to put the highlighter on before I go in with the blush, because it just makes it a little bit more blended and seamless looking on the skin. So I'm gonna take a highlighting brush. You could use the same brush if you wanted to and just one brush it, but I don't want to get highlighter on that brush. So I'm just gonna take this little small one here, and this one's very floppy, so it doesn't over apply product. You just get a light dusting of the highlighter, and we have the floss filter on as well, so I don't feel like I need a whole lot of this one. And this one can also be a bit dark on me sometimes, so just a really light kiss of it for a soft glow. This is one of their metallic strobe powders, and I feel like if you do build this one up, it will emphasize texture, so that's why I like to just do a soft kind of kiss of it across the cheekbones. And I take it up onto the brow bone as well in kind of a C motion right here, and I apply it pretty high and do a little bit on the center of the nose. A very controlled glow. That's what I like. All right, I'm gonna clean my e.l.f. brush off that we used for the bronzer, and we're gonna use that for our blush next. I'm gonna go straight into the blush. I almost said brush. And this is called Mood Flush, I do believe. And it's just a really nice, it looks pretty rosy, almost mauve-y in the pan, but on the face it actually has a little bit of warmth in it. And because of the bronzer, it does pull a little bit warmer. I think it just looks really nice. So I'm gonna apply this kind of in between the bronzer and the highlight, just on the outer part of the cheekbone, but marrying into the highlight and the bronze and just making everything kind of flow together. And I'll even take some of this through the eye right here on this outer part. It's kind of a modern take on an 80s draping type of placement. I like having the bit of the blush flowing into the eye as well. I just feel like this looks very chic. And I'll take maybe a little bit of the blush up around here and on the nose. Okay, and there we go. Basically, blush, bronzer, highlight, and eyeshadow all done. What I'm gonna do next is just take a little bit of the highlighter, and I'll just take this on any little like packer brush, anything like that, just a small brush that's kind of dense. I'll just kind of grab whatever is clean and hit the inner corner with this shade. A little bit more of a concentrated application. I'll even take a little bit maybe onto the center of the lid, depending on my mood, and just kind of dust that across and give a nice little bit of a glow. But you can do this with your finger and just pop that on. Actually, yeah, I would recommend finger. And just pat a little bit onto that lid, on the kind of inner part and like the ball of the lid, the center. It just gives it a really nice, awake, brightened look. I'll keep the lower lash line, nothing on it. I might put a little bit of mascara under there, but that's about it. And just take a little bit of my 24-hour brow setter. I'll run that through the brow at this point. Sometimes I'll take the time to do the soap brow with my Pear soap or my little e.l.f. product. It really just depends on the mood, but if I'm in more of a hurry, this one is the way to go, the 24-hour brow setter, because it's going to lock them in. They're not going to go anywhere. I still can get that kind of laminated brow effect with this one, which is what I like about it. And I get the hold and stability that I love from my brow gel. And I'm someone who gets a little bit bored with makeup. Like, I like to change it up daily and not do the same thing every single day. But this has been kind of a go-to, just staple look I can whip out when I just really don't have time or in the mood to do anything. This is really my quick go-to. I might have overslept a little bit kind of thing, makeup. I do spend a little bit of time on the brow because I do like a pretty dramatic eyebrow, I guess. So I'm just gonna kind of push that down now that it's kind of gotten a little bit tacky. And I'm gonna let that dry and kind of set. I'm gonna go ahead and do my setting spray because that needs to dry too. And for setting spray, I usually just use my Stay All Night Microfine Setting Mist from e.l.f. or I use the Natural Finish from Wet n Wild, which I'm gonna go ahead and use this one today because it's almost empty and I need to finish it up. But this one will give me a little bit more of a dewy appearance, whereas this one doesn't quite do that. Okay, and while my setting spray kind of dries down, I move on to lips at this point. Lips, I've been reaching for about 4 lippies on a regular basis, especially one of them. But here I have them swatched. These three here are the Milani Matte Fetish Lips. We have Desire, Passion, and Secret. These 3 have been my kind of go-to colors for every day, just about, and Passion in particular has been my favorite. It is just kind of this beautiful raisin shade. I think it's so pretty for this time of year. I'm in love with it. It is probably my favorite lipstick, and it's one that I have wanted to wear every single day since I've gotten it. So that's definitely what we're gonna go in with today. But I do really like Desire if I'm wanting more of a brown lip, and Secret if I'm wanting something a little bit softer. And another lip that I really love for looks like this is Walk of No Shame from Charlotte Tilbury, which I have swatched right here, which is this kind of reddish berry, but it's muted and kind of soft to me. This is a reddish tone that I can wear every day, and like you could ideally like wear to the office, and it's a very soft mutedness to this color. I think it is so pretty. And that's another thing I like about these, is there's like a smokiness to them and a softness and kind of a muted vibe, but they're still have a little bit of something to them. They're not your lips but better type of shades. They have a little bit of oomph, because I don't like nothing lipsticks. I like to have a little bit of oomph on the lips, a little bit of color. It's just kind of how I am. But recently I've really been going back and forth between Walk of No Shame and Passion from Milani. Passion, I don't know, there's something about this color I just absolutely love. I love a good raisin lipstick. So I'm gonna go ahead and line my lips. I use most of the time just Soft Spoken from NYX, just because it's very neutral, easy little lip liner. And I'm somebody who always needs a lip liner. I can't stay in lines to save my life when it comes to that. And my lips are so chapped right now though. So a matte lip is probably not my best friend, but these are so kind of comfortable and soft that they don't bother me to wear even over my kind of little more dry chapped lips today. All right, and let's go in with Passion from Milani. Oh, that color just makes me happy. I love it. Now if I was gonna wear like this headband all day or something like that, I would probably take the shade Desire, which is the more brownie shade. But I just have this on to hold my hair back while I'm doing my makeup. Alright, on me, this shade has a little bit of depth and kind of a smokiness to it. I think it's just so pretty. I feel like it's definitely one that when you kind of give it a little bit of a blot, it looks so beautiful. Again, it's another product that wears really gracefully too and doesn't get all over the place. I feel like it just lasts a really long time, but still it wears away gracefully, and it's really easy to touch up and reapply if you need to. Now let's go ahead and throw some little brow hairs in the brows now that my setting spray has dried and my brow gel. I'm going to take Ash Brown from NYX. This is the Lift and Snatch. I like to throw in just a few little hairs through the brow because I think that makes the brow look really kind of polished and finished. And as you can see, I have kind of sparse light brows, and I'd like to have a little bit, just a little more going on the brow region. So I just take the little Lift and Snatch and I do little quick hair-like strokes through the brow, barely touching the skin. And to me, this is a very quick, easy thing to do that really makes the brow look finished. You guys, it takes me like 2 seconds to do. This whole face actually takes me maybe 20 minutes at the most, 15-20, depending on how much time I'm wasting by watching a podcast or listening to videos or just sitting here staring at nothing, drinking coffee until I get woke up. But when I actually get to it and I'm not sitting here talking about product and messing around, I can get this done pretty quickly. Let's say about 15 minutes. Alright, so next step is mascara, and I just take my little lash curler wherever it might have ran off to. Hello. This thing, I'm constantly chasing it down. So I'm going to give the lashes a quick little curl. And this is something that I'll take the time to do, is curl my lashes, especially if I'm not wearing falsies and don't have a whole lot going on the eyes. So like giving the lashes a curl really enhances things. This is like my naturally pretty makeup, I guess. Alright, got a nice curl going. And for mascara, I've been reaching between two of them recently. I'll go with either the Lashy Doll from Lancome. I think this is a really nice mascara for when you don't have a whole lot of eyeshadow on and just kind of want something a little bit softer, as well as the Beauty Counter Think Big mascara. This one gave you a little bit more bolder lashes than this one, and this one's really nice. Yeah, Think Big all-in-one mascara. This is a clean mascara, and it is so beautiful on the lashes. And depending on my mood, if I want some a little bit softer, I'll go with the Lashy Doll. This is one I'm really just trying to kind of use up. And the Beauty Counter, I really enjoy a lot. This one wears incredibly well. It's pretty long wearing and like water resistant without being waterproof. It's easy to remove at the end of the day, but it doesn't get around my eyes. I don't notice it like getting on my cheeks or anything like that. Because sometimes, because I squint a lot, I'll get mascara like right here. And this one doesn't transfer down or get anywhere on me, and it wears just beautifully, especially for like a nice long day. I enjoy this one a lot. But today I'm just gonna go with my Lashy Doll because it's one I'm trying to kind of use up. But I do also enjoy this one. It's just I don't think worth the Lancome price tag, but it's a good mascara if you get like a little free sample like this. You know, it's nothing to complain about. It does the job. It's just, there's better drugstore mascaras. But I think this type of mascara is a beautiful one for when you don't have a whole lot going on the eye and things are just a little bit softer. And this is definitely one I think that gets better with a little bit of age on it after it's been open a little while. Now lightly kind of hit the lowers. I think this one gives you just really nice kind of fluttery lashes. And I do kind of like this one for more of a softer look. Alright, and this is the look all done, hair fixed, finished, ready to go out the door, grab lunch, do whatever it is I need to do type of face. And yeah, thank you for hanging out with me, doing this full face of products that I've really been loving, kind of favorites in action, as well as my everyday soft, natural makeup. But yeah, let me know down below what you think and what products you have been loving lately to use on the day-to-day things you kind of just feel like you can't get enough of, let me know down below. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Stay safe and stay spooky. Bye now.